to educate the mind and spirit, to rescue and empower the girl child, to impart values, to nurture and to love, to comfort and care for the elderly. This is what the Poor Sisters of Our Lady reach out to accomplish. The first diocesan congregation of religious from the Archdiocese of Bombay, they are now a pontifical institute. This local order now boasts of an international footprint. Where and how did it all begin? In 1886, Bombay was first recognized as an archdiocese. A few missionary orders from Europe ministered at various levels and fostered vocations among local girls and women. Religious congregations of Indian origin also existed, but none originating from the Archdiocese of Bombay. 50 years later, in 1939, Father George Fernandez, a diocesan priest, conceived the idea of a local congregation of women, familiar with its people, its customs, and its requirements. Encouraged by Archbishop Thomas Roberts, S.J., Father George formulated a concrete proposal, approached benefactors, and the plan became reality. The embryo congregation, 7 committed young women, needed a house, a rule, and someone to train them as religious. A task that needed much effort and organization. The team of Father George, Father J.J. Dias, Vicar of Salvação Church, Dadar, and Father Justin D'Souza, chaplain at Orlem, worked wonders. Around this time, the nuns from the Society of the Sacred Heart of Jesus had come to Bombay to set up a women's college, and the Archbishop appealed to them to undertake the religious training of the candidates who eventually moved in with them. Friday, September 15, 1939, the Feast of Our Lady of Sorrows, marks the birth date of the Poor Sisters of Our Lady. Archbishop Roberts celebrated Mass at the Convent of the Sacred Heart and formally inaugurated Bombay's first diocesan congregation of nuns. After a formation period of 2 years, they moved into their own home, a building adjacent to Archbishop's house on Woodhouse Road, Stephen Hall, the Poor Sisters' first home. Now, their generalate is a landmark in the parish and the Archdiocese. It was understood that the Poor Sisters would be primarily involved in education, and the initial recruits had the necessary qualifications. But these were the years of war, and the Archbishop felt that there was a greater need for social outreach, given the problems of unemployment, poverty, and the influx of refugees. Additional training was imparted by the Franciscan missionaries of Christ the King from Karachi, and the new apostolate took root. In 1945, the Poor Sisters took over the management of St. Martha's Hostel for Girls at Cavell from the Catholic Women's Welfare Society. They also conducted a poor school in Baikala and ran a needle room and employment bureau from Stephen Hall. Also, in 1945, the PSOL, as they were soon affectionately referred to, transferred their novitiate to St. Francis Xavier Nursing Home, Villapalle, when it was purchased by the Archdiocese. The nursing home continued to function, and the sisters were given training in nursing and midwifery. They also immersed themselves in pastoral work. And it was in 1945 that, having experienced spiritual, vocational, and practical growth, 4 sisters of the first batch made their final profession. Their first superior, Sister Patricia Frank, was elected. The constitution was still provisional and did not have the approval of the Holy See. The PSOL faced problems in raising finance and undertaking fresh work. Mother Patricia was tenacious in her efforts to secure a more permanent footing for the PSOL. And on the 29th of June, 1956, Cardinal Valerian Gracious, the first Indian Archbishop of the Archdiocese, approved the constitution and presented it to the sisters as their rule of life. The first general chapter was held at Stephen Hall in 1957 and was presided over by His Lordship Bishop Longinus Pereira. Mother Patricia who had continued as superior, was elected Mother General for an initial period of 6 years, and she remained the guiding force till 1978.
The reign of Mother Patricia for 30 years was very challenging because Mother Patricia was very young and just 19 I think when she became that time it was not Mother General, Superior. In her 30 years she did a lot. She was the one who got a lot of contacts. She was known as an international figure. Mother Patricia was very dynamic and whatever she did, I think we cannot compare any sister to Mother Patricia.
The congregation achieved a degree of international recognition during the International Eucharistic Congress held in Bombay in 1964. Stephen Hall was the hub and command center for most of the events and functions. The dedication and cheerful efficiency of the sisters was much appreciated by Pope Paul VI, visiting dignitaries and delegates. And it was this recognition that was responsible for the poor sisters' further presence in Europe. Earlier in 1961, at the invitation of Cardinal Koenig, 7 sisters were deputed to Vienna. They worked in the Cardinal's household, in hospitals and homes for the aged, and in parishes where they were also responsible for training children for their first Holy Communion and confirmation.
Cardinal had come over, Cardinal Koenig. Then he wanted some nuns to come to Vienna, and 7 of us went, and we went to the visitation nuns. And these nuns were very happy. They wanted to do something for the mission, That's why they wanted sisters there.
The general chapters provided opportunities to look back in order to look forward, and each elected general steered the congregation in the direction of the renewed vision. While Mother Patricia ensured the grounding and foundation, Mother Antoinette focused on consolidation over the 12 years that she held charge. Mother Cecilia, who was general for the next 12 years, was responsible for deepening spirituality while also expanding the apostolate. As a diocesan order, the work of the sisters was directed by the bishops. Their involvement, therefore, was mainly with parish and pastoral work. As their numbers grew, so did their desire to extend their apostolate to education, care for the aged, and social outreach. They needed to evolve from a diocesan congregation to a pontifical institute. The process, initiated by Mother Cecilia, became a reality in the year 2000 during the tenure of the next general, Mother Teresa. New houses, relocations, building up, spreading out. Change was happening, and the apostolate was now clearly defined by 4 key areas: education, care for the aged, social outreach, and pastoral work. The poor sisters of Our Lady were already involved with education, in that they were assigned to parish schools where they were teachers and principals. Their presence made the very real difference between mere study and the development of the whole person, future citizens who could make a positive impact.
As a religious sister, I feel we contribute more in terms of our dedication, in terms of commitment, in terms of the values we share with the other students or with students of other faiths, and also the love that goes in. Originally, the school was meant for Catholics only, but down the line, I have seen that we hardly cater to any Catholics. There are only 2% of the Catholics in the school. But what I have observed is, without making a distinction of any race, color, creed, or whatever, we impart education to all. All right. Besides the academic, the multidisciplinary thing that takes place with regard to their morals, their spiritual life, and also with regard to their social and the cultural activities that we have, both at school level, inter-school level, and all the other competitive exams that the school offers the students.
The poor sisters' desire to do more resulted in the establishment of their own educational institutions at Andheri, Yavatmal, Bhopal, Bidkin, and Goa.
Our school is the only school in this area which is a Catholic school, and we have been very happy to serve these people, because over the years, last 30 years, we have educated this village, Asnora village, was literally, we can say, totally illiterate. Today our students have become engineers, doctors, lawyers, teachers, and many have got jobs because of the education that our sisters have given in the school.
The Divine Child High School at Andheri which started with a few children under a tree, is today a flourishing campus with a junior college and polytechnic.
When I joined the Divine Child High School, back of my mind was the poor and the needy. We used to feed them first year in the school after the afternoon recess, but then the school became only half day, so we began the ration for the children. And there also I realized that they require the uniform, they require the substantial food, fees concession. So I began a little bit of work for them, where they could earn their living and they pay their fees as well. Our congregation discussed the matter that the higher education and the professional educations were rare for the low economic stratas of societies. So in our own capacity began this vocational, then distance education courses. I have a big dream that no student, no boy or a girl who cannot afford should remain at home and become a dropout.
I wasn't getting admission, the seats were full everywhere. When I got this college, Divine Child Polytechnic, someone recommended this college to me. I came up over here and that's how I got the admission.
In this vicinity, we had only one college, junior college, and our Catholics would run to either to St. Andrews or Xavier's because they wanted the best of colleges. But children from Sakinaka, Jeremary, they wouldn't, maybe because of the percentage. So basically, we started it keeping in mind these kind of students. And we do take students from vernacular medium and all sections. We have almost 15 schools coming together, 15 to 20 schools coming together in our college here.
When you speak of a convent school, there is a lot of focus on spirituality. And here at Divine Child, students are not just trained academically, but they're trained mentally, physically, emotionally, and above all, spiritually. Just like Mother Mary, who was simple, humble, and very loving, so also we have the sisters who imbibe everything that our mother used to do.
Your educational facility is very good and extracurricular activities are a lot. And we get a chance to show our hidden talents. We believe in working as a team. We learn to respect each other, gratitude towards each other and sensitivity.
The elderly need nurturing as much as growing children. And the sisters' experience with caring for the retired priests at clergy home spilled over into their apostolate for the aged through the homes established at Diwar and Ukasai.
I have worked in home for the aged almost now 16 to 17 years. First I began with the clergy home. It was really beautiful to look after the priest there. And after that I immediately got transferred to old age home. I don't give my inmates anything, but they give me continuously. Their love, their blessings, their appreciation, their smile, and that makes me rich. And today if I say I feel fulfilled because when I see the elder, when I touch somebody and when they smile, that means I feel that they are healed. I have become their mother, I become their daughter, I become their everything sometimes. You start morning 4 o'clock, 9 to chapatis for a day. Then you start with your breakfast and then give them bath and clean them. So some people just first remark, we are encouraging the old age home. Whereas I had realized that they were required because there are 18 of them they are single. So they have got nobody to take care of it. There are some people who were really thrown.
The girl child, the heartbeat of the Sisters' Apostolate, is tenderly embraced at Divya Prabha. The rescue centers at Thane and Vasai for girls found on unfriendly streets, station platforms, and in the remand homes. What started as an uphill challenge with many setbacks is now an inspiring success story.
Divya Prabha initially came into existence when I was working on the platforms of Thane Kalyan in an organization where a lot of girls were on the street and they were going ahead, not living a good life. There were a lot of unwed mothers. And we had a chapter and where Sister Cecilia had a vision that we need to do something for a girl child. And that vision was fulfilled on 12th June 1999 by bringing 10 girls from Mumbai and starting the home initially. The day when they came, it was something very drastic for us because the girls were very dirty, their hairs were long, we had to initially give them nice bath and clean them properly. And I remember I took children to a shop. And when I took them in a shop, the first girl said, our parents never took us anywhere and you are taking us and buying. There were one night, there were 2 girls brought by police at 11 o'clock. There were 2.5-year and 3-year-old. At that small age, where this 2.5-year-old and 3-year-old were just eating food and we were feeling very emotionally taken up. But today those two girls are still with us. One is doing a law and the second one is doing a BA and teaching in a school in Jabalpur. And I know that I am not doing for myself, I am doing for the Lord. Because if I am touching the lives of children, it is Jesus who is touching the lives of children through me.
दिव्य प्रभा में आई तो मुझे अच्छा स्टडी मिला, वैसे मुझे अच्छा शेल्टर मिला, वैसे सिस्टर लोग हमें बहुत प्यार करते थे, जैसे हम लोग पिकनिक कैंप लेके जाते थे। अभी मैं TY BCom कर रही हूँ, मुझे फ्यूचर में बैंक में जॉब करना है।
जो पेरेंट्स ने प्रोवाइड करना चाहिए वो सब सिस्टर एनी हमको प्रोवाइड करती है, वो एक तरफ से हम लोग की मतलब माँ है।
मुझे वकील ही बनने का है, क्योंकि जब मैं 10th में थी ना, तब एक बार मुझे सिस्टर एनी ने बोला था तो अच्छा झगड़ा करती तो वकील बन। तब भी मुझे सारी लड़कियां बोलती थी तू वकील बन, तू अच्छा बोलती है, तेरे में बहुत गर्ड्स है कि सबके सामने आके बहुत बोल सकती है तू। मेरी बहन है 1 साल छोटी है मुझसे, प्रिया, वो MP में गई है और वो BA कर रही है, वहाँ पर वो सिखाती भी है। हम लोग चाहते हैं तो सिस्टर एनी के लिए कुछ करे।
In this house, Divya Prabha Thane, we have 23 girls now, having the background like broken families. There are cases like that where the father is in the jail because the mother is murdered. Thirdly, there are cases both the parents are died and they are here. There are also cases who have lost their house and they do not know the address, and that's how the government has identified and then they sent to different NGOs and the few of them are here.
मेरी मम्मी मर गई, मैं छोटी नहीं ना, तभी मालूम मुझे। मम्मी को ना पापा ने मारा था। मेरी मम्मी का और मेरे पापा का झगड़ा हुआ था ना, मेरी मम्मी ना मर गए और पापा जेल में गए। एक पुलिस अंकल है ना, वो ना यहाँ लाए हुए का। मेरे ना यहाँ बहुत सारे फ्रेंड है, यहाँ शाम में हम लोग खेलते मस्ती करते, अगर पढ़ाई के टाइम रहेगा तो पढ़ाई करते।
मैं जब ये घर पे थी, जब मेरे पिताजी ने कुछ गंदा मेरे साथ करने लगे।
There is much more to be done, more lives to save, more futures to be secured. In all this, pastoral outreach has not been forgotten, but expanded. In urban areas, homes are visited, children are trained for First Holy Communion and Confirmation, and adults are prepared for their reception into the Catholic Church through the rite of Christian initiation for adults.
Though I was in the school, I got involved in the parish. So I started a youth group, then getting involved with the pastoral, all the liturgy, getting, for the feast days. I used to go from Mandiri to decorate the altar. God had chosen me for this, and I have that pastoral mind. For me, it's reaching out to people. I love to be with the people.
In the rural areas, women's groups have been launched, healthcare centers set up, and vocational training is imparted. All this with a listening ear and a loving heart. Over 75 years, their footprint has spread and the presence of the PSOL firmly established. Mumbai, Goa, Vienna, Bhopal, Uran, Rome, Korlai, Yavatmal, Aurangabad, Thane,